Meet Emily. Emily is an experienced and dedicated neuro-oncologist. Although she loved her work, she often felt worn out by the inevitability of death. Over the years, she found herself desensitized to death, building up a wall between herself and her patients. "This is what successful physicians do," she told herself. "This is how you maintain sound judgment and remain professional. This is how you survive." Until one day, her chief introduced the Honor Project. The Honor Project is a space and a practice where the entire multidisciplinary team gathered together each month to honor the patients who had died and support one another, sharing stories, memories, reflections, songs, and chocolate. This isn't for me, Emily thought. She was built for oncology. The very next day, she received news that a longtime patient suddenly died. His love of wood carving and kind demeanor reminded her of her own father. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that dealing with death was a part of her job. Later that day, the chief offered her the opportunity to write the patient's name on a card and place it on a shelf in a shared team space. Although she was hesitant, she deeply admired and respected her chief. She wrote the patient's name on the card and added it to the shelf with the names of other patients who had died that month. Each name represented not just a patient, but a person that the entire team had come to know. Later that month, they all gathered for the Honor Project. Although Emily was skeptical of the practice, she wanted to show support for her colleagues. As they each began to share, she realized that everyone, from the doctors and nurses to the researchers and administrative staff, was impacted by every patient in some way. Upon reading the patient's name who had just passed aloud, Emily hesitated, and then began to share how fond she was of him, how he reminded her of her own father, who she had lost in her early 20s, something she rarely spoke about. As each of her colleagues shared, it seemed that the whole patient came to life in the face of their death. That was her first time joining the Honor Project, and as time went on, it was a ritual she grew to look forward to each month. It was a time to pause and a place to express her emotions, a way to feel closer to her colleagues, and an opportunity to celebrate the lives of the patients that she was so grateful to be a part of. And though at first she thought she didn't need something like the Honor Project, now she couldn't imagine doing this work without it.